Gemini, what's going on with you? Come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. My name's Alan Hill from UnknownTruthTarot.com. Welcome back to another Gemini love reading. Today we are going to take a look at the status of the love connection between you and your romantic person of interest here in November 2025. So let's get started. Let's get one card for what's the mutual point of interest between Gemini and their romantic person of interest. Okay. What's going on with you, Gemini? What's going on with Gemini as it relates to their romantic person of interest and the connection between them? There we go. Okay. That was a little explosive in there. Make sure nothing else flipped. Okay. What's going on with your person, Gemini? What's going on with Gemini's romantic person of interest as it relates to Gemini and the connection between them here in November 2025? Oh, this one flipped over in here. Okay. Well, they got all major arcana energy here. What do we got going on here? Okay, the overall energy of this reading. Five of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy. Fives are conflict. This is a betrayal. This is sometimes just a big giant fight that ends things. Sometimes this is dealing with a person who has this winning at all cost mentality. Like, I'm only concerned about myself and getting what I want. And if you happen to get hurt in that process, well, sorry about your luck, Gemini. I'm taking care of myself. So it can be any of those things. At its core, the Five of Swords is really a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event taking place. Like I said, it's usually a betrayal. Yeah, right behind that Five of Swords, I have the Seven of Cups. This is Scorpio energy of options and choices and confusion about the options and choices. There's a lot of different cups here. There's a lot of different ways this could play itself out. A lot of different things to choose from. This is about not wanting to make a mistake and pick the wrong cup. But this is also a really illusionary kind of an energy. So sometimes it's hard to even tell which of these options is even real. But since there's 7 cups here, that can represent there's a lot of emotions involved, especially if we have a betrayal happening. The clouds of smoke around the cups can represent emotions clouding your judgment, clouding decision making. It can even represent someone blowing a smoke screen and trying to obscure the fact that they have other options, trying to hide things. Dang, right behind that, Queen of Wands. This is Aries or Leo energy. This is a bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what she wants. She normally doesn't take no for an answer. In the negative sense, sometimes this can be a drama queen. Also kind of in the negative sense, like you're an air sign, I would expect to see Queen of Swords here. Sometimes maybe Queen of Cups, but this is the fire element queen. In other words, the hot queen. So this usually represents the other woman, the person that there's passion, desire, attraction, and sexual energy for. So I've got somebody having other options, looking like someone else is in the background, and the overall energy is betrayal. So that's the gist of what it looks like this is going to talk to me about. I'll come back to that more as we go through the reading, but this mutual point of interest is shared energy that affects both of you in some way here in November 2025. Doesn't always affect you the same way. Sometimes they do this and you feel the consequences of it. Sometimes they say or do this kind of stuff here and then you start feeling or acting this way. Sometimes it's an external thing that's happening to both of you, but that shared energy here for you, Gemini, is the Five of Cups. Again, fives are conflict. I've got a 5 as the overall energy, a 5 as the shared energy. This is Scorpio energy. Sadness and remorse about the past. This is an emotional loss of some sort. The person here is staring at these 3 cups and the cups are spilled. The 3 of Cups represents being united, being together, and that being spilled. That represents all the love and emotions, all the time, effort, and energy that's been spilled and wasted. There are 2 upright cups still in the background, and a lot of times that will represent one of you still feeling the connection, which is what's keeping you focused on not having it anymore. And at its core, that's what this card is really about. It's about whatever a person focuses on dictates to them what emotions they experience. So when you focus on something that you've lost, you feel that loss. When you focus on something that's missing from your life, you feel the gap in your life. But there is something else that you could shift your focus to. And I get it, that's easier said than done. And that's kind of represented in the imagery here too, because the 3 cups is bigger than the 2 cups. Of course, your attention is going to go there to the 3 cups, but you could intentionally and with some effort, like conscious effort, shift your focus to something else that you could be happy about. Now, based on having what looks like betrayal, other options, maybe somebody hiding those options, and the other woman here in the background, the 3 cups could also represent a third-party love triangle is the thing that spilled this connection, and the 2 cups in the background can also represent another connection looming in the background. So I'm going to clarify that for you and see what else I can find out. Why is the 5 of cups the shared energy for Gemini and their person here in November 2025? Okay. All right. Man, underlying that 5 of cups energy, 7 of cups again. Scorpio energy, options and choices, confusion. A lot of different cups here. This is looking like someone had other options. This is also starting to look like maybe you have some negative emotions here where your focusing is causing more negative emotions. And those emotions could be clouding your judgment, clouding your ability to see things clearly, causing some confusion, making, your choice here seem unclear. Yeah. And I have the devil right behind that. This is Capricorn's major arcana card. This is heavy toxic energy. This is sometimes an obsession with something, an addiction to something, a feeling of being trapped by something, feeling like I can't escape from it. These are the same 2 people from the Lover's card, but here they have chains around their neck. So that can sometimes represent feeling that this connection is so strong and has so much pull to it that I can't break free from it, which would make things feel confusing, make the emotions feel overwhelming. The important piece to know about this is it too is an illusionary energy. The devil is really, really good at tricking us into thinking that this toxic thing is actually what we want when it's really not. Like these people, the chains around their necks are just big loops and they're loose. They could take the loop off of their head and leave anytime they want. Either they just don't want to, or they don't realize they can. Maybe they believe they can't. Maybe they believe that this is, something I'm supposed to be in, but it's not. This is a toxic energy. This is sometimes like an obsession with the connection, or, like this could totally lead to emotions clouding your judgment. This is usually like a toxic connection or a toxic attachment to a connection. Now, I do have to say, because this can represent an addiction, sometimes the 7 of Cups can be one of those cards of intoxication. It can represent someone having a drinking problem or a drug problem, not really being in control. In tarot, there are 2 energies of control, the Emperor and the Devil. And the Emperor is about being in control, and the Devil is about something else having control over you, or having control over the connection, or maybe having control over your person. There's some element of toxicity in the shared energy here. So I'm assuming that that's some element of toxicity in the connection. Although part of what this card is about is the interconnectedness between people. And if this person has some toxicity to them, some obsessive thing, some addiction, something that they can't control, it's impossible to be in a connection with someone that's covered in toxicity without you getting toxicity on you too. Damn, you cannot make this shit up. I got the 10 of Cups right behind that Devil card. So notice, like I said, the Devil is really good at making you believe that this is the thing that I want. And the 10 of Cups is the thing everyone wants. It's the happily ever after. It's the happy fairy tale romance, the happy fairy tale ending that we all want. It's about being combined together emotionally, where you're pouring your love into someone and they're pouring their love into you equally. And they're pouring into you with the same amount of intensity that you're pouring into them. When the Devil is here with it, that's not what this is talking about. Very rarely is that what this is talking about in a love reading. Because if you zoom out a little bit and like detach from your situation, like emotionally detach from it for a second, and just think about this with cold hard logic for a second. If you really had the 10 of cups with this person, would you be here watching a tarot love reading right now, trying to figure out what's really going on in your connection, trying to get guidance about the connection? And the answer is no, you wouldn't be here watching a tarot reading. If you really had the real 10 of cups with someone, a tarot reading would be the last thing on your mind. You would have absolutely zero use for this. So that tells me immediately that you don't really have the 10 of cups. And what that usually represents is someone's idealized point of view. In other words, looking at this relationship for the way that I want it to be instead of the way that it actually is. If you really had the 10 of cups, the overall energy would not be betrayal with options and choices behind that and another person in the background. If you really had the 10 of cups, we wouldn't have 5 of cups as the shared energy affecting you both. And if you really had the 10 of cups, you wouldn't have those options and choices and the devil here, the toxicity in front of it. This is really looking like an unhealthy, toxic, maybe obsessive attachment to someone or to the connection itself, which again is going to cause some very negative emotions, especially when everything is spilled and it's like, but wait a minute, I thought this was my happily ever after. How is this even happening? When I clarify that 5 of cups, I get the 8 of cups, the Fool, and Judgment. The 8 of cups is Pisces energy. This is an energy of emotionally detaching and then physically detaching and walking away. The person in the card is walking away from 8 full cups of love because they believe there's something better out there for them. A lot of times this will represent your person thinking that maybe the grass might be greener on the other side of the fence with this other options that I have, with this other hot queen, this person I have attraction for. It might be better there. So this is usually them detaching from you, at least emotionally, and then eventually physically detaching to go see if the grass is greener. If this is talking to you as advice, the advice of this card means recognizing that 8 cups is the best I've ever gotten here. Yes, I wanted 10 of cups. I maybe even believed, and this would be a false limiting belief, that I had the 10 of cups, but I don't. And this is about recognizing that this person isn't capable of giving you anything more than what they have already given you. And this is about realizing that, and then you emotionally detaching and choosing to walk away. It's a conscious choice to walk away, to go down a brand new path toward your own happiness, toward your own fulfillment, going off looking for that 9th and 10th cup. Central to this clarifiers of the 5 of cups is the Fool. This is the very first card of the major arcana. It's the first card of the whole tarot deck. This is a legitimate new beginning on something. It's usually a new beginning where I don't really know how this is going to work. I don't know what the steps are, but screw it. I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to take the blind leap of faith off of this cliff, and I'll worry about it on my way down. I'll figure it out as I go. This can represent someone displaying foolish behavior, taking unnecessary risks, taking risks outside the connection, which is how you get to betrayal and other options and so on here. Final card to clarify the 5 of cups is Judgment. This is the most powerful decision card in the deck. This is about passing a final verdict and judgment on something in a relationship reading. This has one of 2 meanings. Either A, this is dead and over with and there is no coming back from it. B, the other meaning, can represent someone wanting to resurrect this connection. You can see the angel is playing on a horn and she's raising the dead. She's calling the dead back from the grave, bringing something back to life. So it can represent someone wanting resurrection of the connection here. Since that is tied to the Fool, that seems like a foolish thing to do, especially when we've got emotions clouding judgment and decision making. We've got this toxicity in the background right in front of the 10 of cups, like this idealized point of view. This is the equivalent of looking at the relationship for how I wish it was instead of how it actually is. Now, that's not That's not a healthy thing. There's too much toxicity in this. That's the shared energy that is affecting you both here in November 2025, Gemini. I will come back to this as I go through your energy, because then I can see more clearly how that applies to you. I'll come back to it again when I go through your person's energy, because then I can see how it applies to them. Your energy in this connection, Gemini, first card is the most important. You get the King of Wands. Central to your energy is the Sun. And your final card is the Six of Pentacles. The King of Wands. This is Leo energy. This is a bold, passionate, fiery, determined person who knows exactly what he wants. This is someone who does not take no for an answer. It's usually someone who's very driven and motivated and determined. It's also sometimes someone who's very charming and good looking and charismatic and someone that you would want to follow. This could represent that they're a Leo. It could just represent the qualities that I just described and even how you feel about them, viewing them as attractive. The problem here is it's the counterpart to this Queen of Wands that we've got under the betrayal and the options here. So this is the passion and desire, sexual energy counterparts here. Man, the other thing about the King of Wands is it's the top tier of the wand suit, and the wand is the phallic symbol of the deck. It represents the male you-know-what, using it to do you-know-what, sexual energy, all that fun stuff. This is the top level of that. So I'm going to clarify that card for you. Tell me more about this King of Wands. Why is that the first card here for Gemini in November 2025, please? Okay, we're taking an extra one. No big deal. I see. Underlying this King of Wands energy. Queen of Wands. I just showed you the Queen of Wands 3 cards deep. Told you their counterparts in that passion and desire end. And here we have that Queen of Wands underlying this energy. This is the other woman. This is the person there's passion, desire, attraction for. Right behind her is the Ace of Cups. This represents a new beginning in love and emotions. A new person showing up. And then I have strength. This makes a lot of sense. More Leo major arcana energy here. This usually represents going through a very difficult situation that's very hard to make it through. And it's about having to dig down deep inside yourself to find your internal strength just to make it through it. You have the strength to make it through this. You're just going to be forced to dig down deep inside yourself and find it and tap into it and put it to use. The other thing this can represent is your person trying to tame this beast inside themselves, maybe even you trying to tame this beast inside yourself. I did see the devil in the shared energy. That devil would be the beast. This is usually some sort of an urge or an impulse or a desire, like a primal desire. And this lady in the white gown represents your conscience, or even your person's conscience, the ability to know right from wrong. And she's trying to tame that lion so it doesn't rush off and do something that's going to be a mistake. So this represents struggling against a piece of yourself and trying to contain that piece of yourself so you don't make a mistake. That could be that your person has some toxic level of maybe attraction, maybe a toxicity about needing other options all the time and them trying to contain that part of themselves. Because I saw the devil and the 10 of Cups there, and this idea of maybe wanting to resurrect this and having all these regrets and still feeling the connection in the background. This could be talking about you trying to rein that piece of yourself in that has all the attraction for this person and that wants it back. And with what I'm seeing out here, it's looking like you probably still want to work on this and might even be willing to take the blind leap of faith toward trying to resurrect this, just because everything feels so negative right now for you. There's so much mental and psychological pain, emotional pain, that all of that could be clouding your judgment and your decision making here. When I clarify King of Wands, I get the 10 of Pentacles, Temperance, the 8 of Pentacles, and the 7 of Cups again. 10 of Pentacles is Virgo energy. We already saw the 10 of Cups, so this is like the physical equivalent of that. Virgo energy, maximum stability, abundance, and prosperity. This can be the combining together of two people, two families, all the assets and resources, building a life together, combining lives together. I get this card a lot for people if they're married or engaged or living together or going down that kind of a path. And then I get Temperance, the Sagittarius Major Arcana card. This is a card of patience sometimes. So this could be that you're trying to be incredibly patient here because you want this person so bad, and maybe you want to bring this connection back so bad. This is a recalibration energy. It's about something being incredibly out of whack and trying to like even it back out and recalibrate things to make it so that it's just right again. This is really supposed to be a recalibration of your emotions, of your internal world, not a recalibration of the connection itself. Sometimes this card shows up when someone wants reconciliation. I've got two cards out here that happen when someone wants reconciliation, but even the fact that this card is here to point out something is way out of whack, the idea of wanting to blend everything back together seems out of whack to me. I got the Eight of Pentacles next, more Virgo energy. This is the card of work, putting in the work, time, effort, and energy on something to get what you want, or at the very least, being willing to put the work in on something. Probably trying to recalibrate this. This is looking like you guys had combined together lives when all of this betrayal crap happened. And that idea of the combined together life, like the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups are everyone's goal in reality and in emotions and love. And I've seen both of those cards, but we can't forget that the devil was underlying this energy. And we've got two fives out here: betrayal, emotional loss. Right behind the betrayal is the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups is the final clarifier here for the King of Wands. They had options and choices, and were probably clouding things up for you, trying to keep that stuff hidden. This is also looking like it's talking to me about your emotions clouding your judgment, not being able to tell which of these options is actually real and which isn't. This is about not wanting to pick the wrong cup and make a mistake. And considering I have two cards here right connected to it about trying to recombine this two cups of love back together, trying to work on this, that looks like the thing that is a little bit cloudy for you here. Central for your energy here in November 2025, Gemini, is the Sun. This is the other Leo Major Arcana card. I feel like I've said Leo quite a few times. I've said Scorpio a few times. I've said Virgo, Sagittarius, more Virgo, little bit of Aries, a little bit of Pisces. You could be dealing with any of those signs. Hell, you could be dealing with any sign. This is a collective reading, so it's going to be almost impossible for me to pin down exactly who you're dealing with as an individual person, because I'm not tapping into your specific energy as an individual person the same way I would if I was doing a personal reading for you and it was just the two of us one-on-one. Here I'm tapping into tens of thousands of Gemini people all at the same time. So I'm going to continue to call these signs out as they stick out to me, just in case they mean anything to you. But this is Leo Major Arcana energy. The Sun is the happiest card in the deck. It represents happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. It's really hard to get a better card than that in a relationship reading when that's what it's talking about. Now, because this is central to your energy, that could be telling me you have a lot of happiness tied to this connection, a lot of happiness tied to this person, even a lot of happiness tied to the idea of balancing this out, which we'll get to here in a minute. Even when I was talking about the devil, I said that that can sometimes feel like a connection that has so much pull to it that I feel like I can't break free from it. Well, if you look at how our solar system is put together, the sun is smack in the middle and all the planets are in orbit around the sun because the sun has all the gravity. So again, this can indicate you have all this happiness attached to it. This has so much gravity that you feel like you can't pull away from it. The other meaning to the sun, besides just happiness, is it's the card that comes immediately after the moon in the sequence of the major arcana. So when the moon's out, it's dark outside. Things can be hidden in the dark. Secrets can be kept. And the next step when something like that's going on, which it looks like it was. We got options and choices, another woman in the background, betrayal here, somebody taking foolish risks, all the stuff I've already said. The next step would be the sun comes up, and now it's not dark anymore, and all that stuff that was being hidden from me gets the light shined on it, it gets illuminated, it gets exposed, and I can see it for what it is. So tell me more about the sun, please. Why is the sun the central energy for Gemini? This connection in November 20. Look at all the cards trying to get away from me all at once. That's way too much energy under the surface for you. There's too much going on there. Probably feeling really overwhelmed. I'm not going to be surprised one bit if I get the Eight of Wands come out for you. Underlying the sun is the Emperor, the Aries Major Arcana card. I referenced this when I was telling you about the Devil. This is the other energy of control. This is supposed about being in control, taking charge. This is the person who has all the tools, abilities, and resources to put together the plan to get what they want and then execute that plan to get what they want. This is the person who makes the rules, calls all the shots, sets the boundaries. This is the one in charge. Very rarely is the person that I'm doing the reading for the Emperor. That usually is the other person, and they're the one that's in control. Or maybe you feel like they're in control. I see all this idea here of putting in the work to try to recombine this back together, but the thing that I was clarifying to even get there was your person. So if this looks to me like if you had your way, like if you had the big red magic easy button and you could just press it and make it however you want it to be, we'd be putting in the work here to fix this. But it doesn't appear that you're the one that's in control of your happiness here. It looks like they're in control. This could also be telling me the light got shined on them, and that's how things got exposed. Yeah, like I said, they're the one that makes the rules and puts the barriers and the boundaries in place. Right behind that is the Nine of Wands, Sagittarius energy. There's the wall, there's the barrier that's in the way. Now, this is a card of being walled off and defensive. Your person probably being defensive. It's also a card of healing. That's the wounded warrior, and he's built this wall around himself as a way to protect himself. This is about not wanting to get hurt because I've already been hurt. He's injured. He's got a bandage on his head. This is about wanting to not get hurt anymore so I can heal and get my energy right. Looking like your person has hurt you. Also looking like your person is the one in charge and they're putting a barrier in the way. Yeah, damn, and there's the Devil again. That's another barrier that's in your way. And the thing that you need to take control of is whatever this toxicity is brewing in the background that's affecting you. Whether that's your person, whether it's the idea that this connection is so powerful that I can't break away from it. I've got two cards here that could indicate that. That is a very unhealthy, very limiting belief that looks to be affecting you here. The way that you get away from the Devil is you take your head out of the loop. Maybe take your head out of the mental loop of what you're grinding on. The way you're thinking about it is the thing that's keeping you trapped. What your focus is on needs shifted because what you're focusing on is keeping you stuck. Now, it's also very highly likely that your person has some toxicity in them. And that's like when I have the Emperor, the person that's in control, so close to the Devil, this is about something else being in control. And typically those two cards together will indicate someone who goes beyond being in control and starts to demonstrate controlling behavior, like being a control freak. And the reason they do that is because they're not in control of something inside themselves. So they try to externalize the control, and they might try to control you or other people or the situations around them because they're trying to overcompensate for this thing inside themselves that they can't control. King of Wands is right behind that Devil. That's the card we clarified first for you. That represented your person. The King of Swords is the person who makes decisions with his mind. The King of Cups makes decisions based on how things feel. The King of Wands makes decisions with the wrong head. He decides with the wand and not the head or the heart. And when I've got the Devil and the King of Wands this close together, that's a person who usually has some unhealthy attachment to their wand, to the sexual energy. Maybe they can't control that. Maybe they have an addiction to that. When I clarify the Sun, I get Death, the Knight of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. Death is the Scorpio Major Arcana card. This is an ending to something. This is something dying, and the ending has a painful transition period that follows it, or a painful transformation takes place following the ending. But this is something being dead. Now, that looks like happiness has died. It could also be that something got illuminated and that killed things in this connection. What's also looking like it's dead is this Ten of Pentacles, this combined together life. Even Death is moving in the opposite direction of Ten of Pentacles. And yes, that would cause a painful transition period. That would cause Five of Cups for sure. Knight of Wands is the next clarifier for the Sun. This is the second fastest knight in the deck. This is rushing forward and taking this rapid, passionate action on something there's a lot of passion and desire for. We've seen that Queen of Wands a couple of times already. This often gets referred to as the player of the tarot deck. It can be that person that comes rushing in all passionately and tells you everything you want to hear so they can get what they want. But then they go somewhere else just as passionately and tell that person everything they want to hear, and they get what they want there, and then they run back and forth playing both sides of the fence. This can be someone who's non-committal in the sense that at first they say that they want something, but then later they change their mind and go a different way. And I've got that sitting right beside Temperance here. The idea of trying to blend things back together. So maybe they show you and tell you that they want to blend things back together, but then they switch up and go somewhere else. This can just as easily be combining two things together to make something new. And maybe they ran around back and forth on you to do something like that. That Knight of Wands is connected to Death, the ending here, the thing that killed it. Final clarifier for the Sun is the Ace of Pentacles. This is a new beginning. It's a tangible thing, a new opportunity presenting itself, a physical opportunity. It's not an idea, it's a physical thing I can touch. Sometimes that's a new person. We got this Knight of Wands running back and forth between you and some new opportunity that they have. Now, I do have it sitting right beside Eight of Pentacles here in your energy, which can represent that you want the opportunity to put the work in on this, but probably feeling like you're at this person's mercy and they're putting barriers in the way. Man, I didn't go far enough again, because behind that Devil and the King of Wands, there's your Ten of Cups again, and the Six of Cups, which is past energy. This can represent history between the two of you. This can represent something from the past coming back up again or happening again. It can just represent you doing a lot of reminiscing about the way it used to be when you believed you had the Ten of Cups with them. But this can even represent that they have a history of this player behavior, a history of getting a new opportunity and going for it. A history of maybe following their wand and taking these foolish, unnecessary risks outside of the connection. Maybe a history of betrayal and other options and having another woman. Could be any of that kind of stuff. So take that piece however it applies to you. Ah, man. This right here is like an unhealthy attachment, this unhealthy level of desire for the Ten of Cups, which again, like I said, is it's not the happy fairy tale romance, the happy fairy tale ending. This is an idealized point of view. I want that so bad that I'm willing to stay in this toxic connection here. Like, that's the thing about the Ten of Cups. This is the card that gets more people in trouble than any other card in the whole deck, even more than the Devil, because we all want this so bad. if this person is betraying you, if they have other options besides you, if they're clouding things up to hide things from you, if they have another woman, if they're taking unnecessary risks, if they're a player, if they've been chasing other opportunities, if any of that stuff is true, then this 10 of Cups can't be true. And we all want that to be true so bad that it leads us to delude ourselves sometimes, to lie to ourselves, to put on the blinders and pretend like we don't see what's happening, to sweep shit under the rug when we shouldn't, because we want that to be true. Especially if there's a level of history between the two of you. This is like a really unhealthy level of desire for that idealized fantasy. And that is really the barrier that's in your way. That's the thing that's controlling you. Not so much this person, but the desire to have this happily ever after with that person. Like, we get confused a lot. Because look, we all want the 10 of Cups. And I'm not saying true love doesn't exist. It absolutely does. Where we get fucked up is we don't look at it the right way. We look at it like, I want that person to love me that way. When what we really want is someone to love us as much as we love them. We're pouring everything we have into this, and we want someone who's going to treat us the same way and pour everything they have into us. That's what we really want. And this is kind of like getting sidetracked with the specific form of it. Like, no, I don't want just anyone to love me. It has to be this particular person. And that's always a mistake. Final card for you, Gemini, is the 6 of Pentacles. This is Taurus energy. This is supposed to be balance. It's supposed to be generosity. It's supposed to be reciprocity. Like, I scratch your back and you scratch my back and we take care of each other. It's supposed to be equal give and take. The other meaning to that card is it can represent the merchant here, giving to two people in the physical sense. So tell me more about the 6 of Pentacles, please. Why is the 6 of Pentacles here for Gemini? Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. Underlying that 6 of Pentacles energy, there's the Queen of Wands again. That's the other woman. That's the one there's all the passion, desire, attraction, sexual energy for. I'm clarifying a card that can indicate your person is giving to two people. You and this one. Ace of Cups. You've seen me shuffle this, right? New beginning in love and emotions. Justice. This is the Libra Major Arcana card. This is the most powerful card of balance in the deck. It's about doing the right, fair, just thing. The sword that's in this card is used to sever something, to cut away something that's not in balance. So balance can be restored, and then the right, fair, just thing can happen. This card shows up to point out the fact that something very unbalanced, unfair is going on, and this points out the need to correct it. Well, what's not fair is that they have this other person that they've brought in. Also, what's out of balance is that whole spiel I've gone through twice about the 10 of Cups and the idealized fantasy viewpoint instead of looking at reality. This is saying, cut away that fantasy, cut away, detach emotionally from that ideal, because you're not getting that here. You never have gotten that here because they're not capable of that. Detach from the emotions, because that is what's clouding this all up for you. That's how you're going to get to balance. Now, when I clarify this 6 of Pentacles, I get the 4 of Cups, the King of Cups, the Queen of Cups. Notice how many cups in a row I'm getting. And what was on the bottom was the Queen of Wands, the passion and desire thing being the more important. 4 of Cups, King of Cups, Queen of Cups, the Tower, and the Hanged Man. The 4 of Cups is Cancer energy. This is about not being fully emotionally happy or content with what's right in front of me. So much so that I'm daydreaming about this other cup, this other thing that I believe would make me happy if I only had that. Now notice the person is looking at 3 cups. Three Cups represents being together. I'm not happy being together. And I keep daydreaming about this other cup. That other cup, we've seen it twice connected to the other woman. That's why they're given to two people. They're not happy. That's tied directly to death of the Ten of Pentacles combined together life. Now, the other thing that this Four of Cups can represent, the Three Cups can be about the third party love triangle. And this could be, you're not happy because we're not together. You're not happy because they brought a third person in and I can't get that bitch out of my head. I can't stop thinking about her. And that's probably killing you. Not physically, but it's killing you emotionally. That's what it's talking about, being focused on the Three Cups when there's other stuff you could focus on that would make you feel differently. It's also the other connection looming in the background, and the third party is what spilled it all. Next, I have the King of Cups. I might as well do these at the same time, and the Queen of Cups. These are counterparts in love and emotions. The King and the Queen of Cups work together as equals to build the Ten of Cups. Notice, I've got these two out here, but the Ten of Cups is still buried in the underlying energy. It's not actually out here on the table. It's not present. It's below the surface. It's in your feelings, probably. The King of Cups would be the person that you have all the love and emotions for, but this is also someone who does not wear his heart on his sleeve. He's got a completely straight face here. This person they could love you, but you wouldn't really know because they don't express it. But all the water around his feet is rough and choppy, and that can indicate rough, choppy emotions, emotional turmoil. And again, completely straight face. You would never know that they're going through emotional turmoil either because they don't share that with you. They don't express it. You would never know that they're not happy because they aren't going to tell you. It's tied directly to this Knight of Wands, this running back and forth, changing my mind, going somewhere else, being a player, and then coming back to you. I'm blending two different things together here. Then we get the Queen of Cups, and this is probably your energy. This is you having all this love and emotions that you want to pour into your person. It's also the most intuitive queen in the deck, so you probably felt this person showing up. You probably felt the unfairness. Yeah, right behind that unfairness is the Three of Swords. Shit, I didn't go deep enough again. Three of Swords and Five of Swords. Five of Swords is the overall energy. This Three of Swords is Libra energy of heartbreak and sadness from a third energy. The Five of Swords, we've already seen that here. Fives are conflict. This is a betrayal. A mentally, psychologically painful situation or event taking place. This also indicates that you've been hurt. She's the only character in the deck that has a lid on top of her cup. And she's doing that as a way to protect her emotions from getting contaminated. She's been hurt before. She doesn't want anything getting in her emotions and messing her up. But what she wants to do is take that lid off of her cup and pour her love into someone. She just has to be guarded and hesitant so she doesn't get hurt again. Right here, what you're looking at is that new opportunity showing up, which in one sense is the physical opportunity with this other person, the new cup of love that showed up. In another sense, what you're looking at is the opportunity that you're looking for to be able to put in the work, time, effort, and energy to fix this. But then it leads us to the Tower. This is the collapse of some important structure in your life. This is a foundation rocking event. This is the moment where everything goes to hell in a handbasket. And from this moment on, nothing's ever going to be the same again with this connection. This sometimes can represent the collapse of the relationship itself. Sometimes it represents the collapse of the belief system you had, like the mental model of the world you were operating from, where I believed this was supposed to be my happily ever after. I believed we were in love. I believed we had this combined together life. I believed that, excuse me, oh, they're trying to choke me here. I believed that all my happiness was tied to this. I believed this was it. And something has happened to shatter that belief. I read these in columns and then I connect it in rows as I go down. And we've now reached the first time where I don't have a complete row. I've got options and choices. I've got confusion, maybe emotions clouding your judgment, making this really confusing for you to figure out what to even do. And then I've got the tower. Everything is collapsed. And in the middle of it is a void, a gap in the information. And the only thing connected to that gap is this new opportunity showing up, a new physical opportunity. And that's connected to the player, and that's connected to death. The final clarifier for you, Gemini, is the Hanged Man. This is Pisces energy of progress being halted, no forward movement happening, things being stuck, things being at a complete dead stop, a standstill. Nothing's moving. Now, the Hanged Man is hanging upside down because he's trying to look at things from a different point of view than he would normally look at things from. He's trying to figure out, what has me stuck? What do I need to adjust in order to get unstuck? It's about trying to figure out what to do moving forward from here. Now, the reason we would try to look at things from a different perspective is usually because everything we've tried so far hasn't worked. The problem with this energy is where his focus is. And I said that right at the very beginning. This card, this Five of Cups, is about whatever a person focuses on dictates how they feel. And here, like, I usually contrast this with the Hermit because they're both really similar. They're both trying to figure out what to do moving forward. The key difference is in where their focus is placed. The Hermit is looking inside of himself. He's looking at, what adjustments do I need to make about me so I can move forward the way I want. And the Hanged Man is looking at things from a different perspective. He's looking at things, and things are external to us. He's looking outside of himself for what out here is the problem. What out here needs adjusting. So if the problem is external to you, then therefore the solution must be external to you. And this is looking like the problem, yes, is external to you. You've got a player smack in the center of your energy. You're dealing with the player that killed this because they had a new opportunity. But the problem is your happiness is tied to that player. All of your passion and desire is tied to that player. You've got a combined together life with that player. All of your love and emotions are tied to that player. This belief that you had about this being the 10 of Cups, you're happily ever after, that's all contingent entirely upon the player. And if all of your focus is directed outside of you onto this person, no wonder you're feeling like shit emotionally. No wonder you're feeling like shit mentally and psychologically. No wonder you're confused, because you're looking in the wrong spot. Your happiness does not lie outside of you. Your happiness comes from inside of you. And I think that's part of the belief shift that's supposed to be taking place here. This is the only card that has absolutely nothing to go with it in the row. I've got two voids in the information, and then you being stuck, probably because you're looking externally to yourself for the solution instead of looking inside of yourself for the solution. And yeah, we saw the devil in the shared energy and the underlying energy. I've seen it over here on your side a couple of times. There is something inside of you that is just as much of a problem as this person is. Because, like, if you think about it again logically, like, I can only say this because A, I've been through this myself before, which is how I can recognize it. I know what it feels like. That's how I can spot it. And B, I'm not actually emotionally attached to your situation like you are. So I can see it more clearly here. There's some reason inside of you why you would still want to recombine with the person that treats you this way. There's some reason inside of you on why you would still want to put in the work and effort to fix a situation that's this bad. When the person hasn't given you your happiness, they haven't poured themselves into you with the same amount of effort that you've been pouring into them, and it looks like they never have. And I think trying to trying to get resurrection of this looks like it would be a foolish decision. I'm sorry, I don't want this to feel like I'm preaching at you, because that's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get you the truth and the clarity that you need to be able to see clearly, so you can make the decisions that are in your own best interest. Scoot this over a little bit and we'll take a look at your person here. Your person's energy, first card is the most important. We get the Star. Central for your person's energy is the Fool. And their final card is Justice. So they got all three major arcana. We've already seen the Fool. It's out here in the shared energy. We just saw Justice a minute ago here, right behind this Queen of Wands and Ace of Cups, new beginning in love and emotions, the unfair, unjust thing getting pointed out. So I've got the Fool over here and pointing again at the unfair, unjust, unbalanced shit going on from this person. The Star is the Aquarius major arcana card. This is a card of hope. This is a card of healing. It's also the card that comes immediately after the Tower in the sequence of the major arcana. So you don't make it to the Star energy until the Tower collapses. This is the collapse of the old and a hope about the new. And that shows up, the Tower shows up here at the end of your energy, and you're still stuck after the Tower collapses. Meanwhile, your person has all this hope. Tell me about the Star, please. Why is that the first card? Okay. We're going to take extra cards, it looks like. No big deal. Try and keep them in the right order. Well, I did see the Six of Cups at some point, and I said that there was a history of something happening here. I'm about to come back to that, it looks like. Underlying the Star energy, Ten of Cups, there's that happily ever after. Now, granted, a piece of this was your person showing up over here on your side. Could be a piece of your energy showing up in their first column here. Could be that you still are trying to maintain the hope for this Ten of Cups happily ever after. Still trying to maintain the idea that we can heal this Ten of Cups happily ever after. Yeah, but this person's happily ever after is tied to being the King of Wands, like being able to go out and get what they want whenever they want and not take no for an answer and be driven and motivated by passion and desire in the wand. And there's the damn devil again. Like every time we've seen this Ten of Cups, the fucking devil has been with it. So again, this is like the big red blinking warning siren trying to tell you, hey, what you think this is not what it actually is. What it actually is toxic, unhealthy attachment here. This is like trauma bonding or something like that. And the Emperor in the background. This person is not in control. They're not in control. Something else is in control of them, and it's their wand, their passion and their desire energy. But they try to act like they're in control. When I clarify the Star, I get the Nine of Wands. Come here, the Ten of Swords. Six of Wands, Page of Wands, notice all the Wands energy again, Six of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles. Nine of Wands is Sagittarius energy, walled off defensive energy. This is the barrier that they're putting in the way. You can hope all you want, they're blocking the hope. From their point of view, it's Ten of Swords. This is Gemini energy. This is a swift, painful ending. Sometimes it's an ending you didn't see coming, which is why the swords are in your back. Sometimes this is an ending in betrayal, which is why the swords are in your back, getting stabbed in the back. Again, the overall energy is betrayal. This is not someone who's going to go to the hospital and get a couple of stitches and be back to work just fine tomorrow. This person is deader than a doornail. There's 10 swords in him. It don't take 10 swords to kill something. I've got death on your side. I've got the ending over here. Both cards, actually all three cards, towers out here. That could tell me this is dead and over, that this is stuck, it ain't moving. I've got all of it out here. And this hope, that's probably misplaced hope from your point of view, and for them, It's hope for the future. It's hope I can keep this wall up, hope that this is over. It's hope that I can move forward toward my passion and desire. The Six of Wands is recognition. Now, sometimes this could be you recognizing something. It could be them coming to some sort of a recognition. Hell, it might be them getting recognized, getting the light shined on them for what they were doing. And it's over with at this point. But this is also successful forward movement, and it's going the opposite way of your energy here. I got this person detaching and walking away, taking a blind leap of faith on a brand new beginning, calling it dead and over with. That's why the wall's up. That's why the Ten of Swords is here. And this is them moving forward. Another card of them moving forward, Page of Wands. Pages are messengers, and this is news and messages and communications about passion and desire. So passionate messages, expressing interest, talking about what it is that I want. This is someone, it's the minor arcana version of the Fool, which is out here in the center of the shared energy. It's also the next card I'm going to clarify for them in just a second. It's a toned down version of the Fool. This is someone who has the willingness to take the very first steps down a brand new path towards something that they have passion and desire for. So I've got two cards here of forward movement toward passion and desire. Both of those cards are facing away from you. Next, I get the Six of Pentacles, which we already saw. That was your final card. Like I said, it can represent the merchant giving to two people. That would be your person giving to you. And notice there's another person behind their back. I don't know if I told you, that's Taurus energy. Next clarifier is the Seven of Pentacles. So see, things are advancing physically on their end. They're advancing passionately, and now they're advancing physically, going from the 6 to the 7. This is also Taurus energy. This is a period of time. Sometimes that's a period of time where they've been pausing to reflect and take stock of this whole connection, this whole situation. And what they're doing is they're trying to decide, is this ever going to grow into what I actually want or not? Is this a spot where I should continue to invest my time, effort, and energy into it? Or should I cut my losses and move on? Well, that card of investing time, effort, and energy is over here on your side, tied to the confusion that you have. It's also, if they are investing time, effort, and energy, they're doing that in the options that they have, this new opportunity that they have, being a player. This can also represent a period of time where seeds were planted on something. And think about, like, if you go plant a seed for a tree today, an apple tree, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and get apples. It don't work that way. There's a big lag time that it takes for the seed to grow and turn into a tree and actually fully grow and blossom and get fruit on it and all that good stuff. This can represent that lag time where something was planted a while ago and we're just now waiting on the time so I can harvest it. Waiting on the time so I could take this blind leap of faith on this new beginning with the Fool card that's central for their energy. What that looks like to me is there has been a period of time that your person has been giving to you and another person. There's been a period of time where they've recognized that this is over. Probably been a period of time where they've been hoping about the future, where they've been putting barriers between themselves and you. Period of time where they've been sending passionate messages and taking the first steps down the path toward passion with somebody else. Period of time where they're given to two people. Tell me about the Fool, please. Why is that central for Gemini's energy here in November 2025? Why is that here for Gemini's person, please? Notice they don't want to talk very much anymore. Yeah. And as soon as I say that, they puke it all out. Man, this person, I swear, underlying this Fool energy, the devil. Capricorn major arcana, heavy toxic energy. Obsession, addiction, feeling of being trapped by something, feeling like I can't escape from something. Something else is in control of them. Taking these blind leaps of faith. I don't think they can help themselves. I don't think they can contain their own wand. They're not running the show. The wand is running the show. But boy, they sure put up a good look. They try to make it look like they're fully in control and everything they're doing is on purpose. This is probably a controlling asshole that you're dealing with. I keep seeing these two cards together too. This would be the person who tries to control everything and everyone to overcompensate for the fact that they can't control themselves. Yeah, King of Wands again. You've seen me shuffle this repeatedly, and these cards keep coming out together. The other thing that keeps coming out with that is this Ten of Cups that just shot out again in their energy. Getting ahead of myself though, when I clarify the Fool, Ace of Cups, Ten of Cups, Six of Cups, Knight of Swords, and the Sun. Ace of Cups, we've already seen it. That's the new beginning in love and emotions. They're taking the blind leap of faith with someone new, and they're probably putting a barrier between themselves and you. Next, I get the Ten of Cups. There's their happily ever after, but again, that's not what this is, especially with the devil still staring at me here. This is them probably trying to go take this blind leap of faith with this brand new person, and in their head, they're jumping straight from the 1 to the 10. And they're skipping the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in the middle. I see this so much. I do a lot of personal readings, and you would not believe the number of people I do a reading for where they just met a new guy last week, or even when I'm reading for a guy and he just met a new girl last week and they've been on one date and they're already thinking about marriage. They're already thinking, oh, this is the one. After one date. That's trying to jump straight from the Ace to the 10, and that's a recipe for disaster, which is why the Ten of Cups is sitting right next to the Ten of Swords. That's a disaster just waiting to happen. It's totally possible that your person has got themselves convinced that this new person is the one. But then I get the Six of Cups with that, which is Scorpio energy of the past, thinking about the past. Doesn't feel like they're reminiscing about the past because I got it sitting right next to a card about moving forward successfully, going to what they think is from this new beginning straight to the happily ever after. This is a history of something. This new person probably isn't brand new as in like a stranger. It's probably someone that they already have some element of history with. It doesn't necessarily mean romantic, like used to be together, although it can mean that. Sometimes this can be a person that they worked with or some person that they knew in some other way previously. It's probably not a brand new person. It also probably represents that they have a history of doing this kind of behavior. History of some toxic thing being in control while they pretend like they're in control and actually think they're moving forward successfully when they're probably not. Especially with Knight of Swords right here with it. This is the fastest moving knight in the deck. It's faster than the player that's over here on your side. This is the card that sometimes gets referred to as the narcissist of the deck. It's that person who rushes forward and makes this decisive action on something that they didn't think through first. This is usually the person who just does it and they don't bother to think about it until after they've already done it, at which point it's too late. It's really like spur of the moment, spontaneous, impulsive, reckless kind of decision making. And they probably have a history of behaving that way. It's tied directly to this Page of Wands, the passionate communications, passionate messages. Now this could just mean, hey, I have a history with this person and I've been talking to them for a period of time and been trying to move their direction for a period of time. Maybe the opportunity presented itself and boom, like a bat out of hell, I am gone. Rushing forward toward the Sun, the Leo Major Arcana card. That was also the center of your energy over here, the central card for your energy. Happiest card in the deck. Happiness, joy, bliss, harmony. I'm running head first, full speed ahead toward that. But is it really happiness when the devil's out here? This is a distorted version of happiness. It's some unhealthy, twisted thing that they have labeled as happiness, thinking it makes them happy when it really doesn't. It's tied directly to the Six of Pentacles, the merchant giving to two people. Their happiness is tied to that idea. So this looks like somebody who probably has to have whoever they're with plus someone on the side. So far, the only thing that doesn't have anything to connect with it is this period of time idea here, where this has probably been happening for a minute. Maybe ain't the first time it's happened. Final card in your person's energy, Gemini, is the Libra Major Arcana card, Justice. Again, this card shows up to point out something unfair and unjust and unbalanced is happening, and this points out the need to correct it. Tell me about justice, please. Why is justice the final card for Gemini's person? Where did you go? Good grief. Yeah, that would be slightly unfair, I would say. Underlying justice. Justice from the other deck. I just told you what it means. This is pointing out something unfair and unjust is happening. Anytime I'm clarifying a card and I get the same damn card, that's the universe beating me over the head. Like, dude, I'm telling you, something way out of balance here. Something unfair is going on, and it needs fucking corrected. The thing that's unfair and unjust is Three of Swords, more Libra energy. Heartbreak and sadness from a third energy. I don't know how many different ways I can get that there's another person involved, but we've seen that Queen of Wands 3 or 4 times, almost always with the Ace of Cups with it. I've seen that King of Wands and the Devil together. I've got the player in the center of the energy hooked up with a new physical opportunity. The Fool, like merchant giving to two, merchant giving to two. Like, we've seen it all. When I clarify justice, 5 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. Okay. 5 of Swords, Aquarius energy. It's the overall energy here. Conflict, betrayal, a mentally and psychologically painful situation or event. Of course, betrayal is unfair. And yes, something needs done about that. What needs done about that is you passing judgment on this situation, detaching emotionally, walking away from this because you deserve better than this. They aren't capable of better than this, and you deserve better than this, which means you have to call this dead and over with. You got to quit focusing on the loss of it and focus on what you have. Shift your focus. Yeah, it's going to be scary. It's going to be a whole brand new beginning, but you can do this. Your only other option is to stay stuck in all this pain and bullshit. And it doesn't look like that's even an option because they've detached. They've called it over. They're moving on. And like, staying in this spot is just staying in pain for no reason. This betrayal is tied to the new cup of love. The betrayal is also tied to the barrier that they're putting in the way. The next clarifier for justice is the 9 of Pentacles. This is Virgo energy. This is about being physically single, physically independent. I don't need you to physically take care of me or financially take care of me. I'm good. I got that. This is a step backwards from your very first clarifier, the 10 of Pentacles, the combined together life. Now, very clearly, you were together with this person when all the betrayal and the new cup of love and all this bullshit happened. This doesn't mean that they actually were single. This usually is someone who's not single, but they're presenting themselves in the physical world as if they are single when they're not. That's how you get the ending to the emotionally combined together life here. But it's also ending, and the happily ever after for me is to be single and to have this new cup of love, potentially with someone that either they were already with romantically before or have some sort of history with in some way. Whether that is romantic history or just worked together or just knew them from somewhere else, a friend of a friend or something, like went to school with them, Who knows? It might actually be someone that they were married to. Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. This is the wife energy. The King and the Queen of Pentacles work together to make the Ten of Pentacles. Well, this is either I'm betraying my wife. If you're married to them, I'm betraying my wife and I'm being single and leaving wife behind. Even though, or this is a person that they have history with and maybe they were married before you, or this was a fiance or someone that they used to live with. It's some element of wife is here. And either being single from wife and betraying wife, or I'm betraying you to get single, to go back to this person and move forward with that. But I got a whole lot of cards over here that have nothing to connect with it. Like you got 3. You got that 7 of Cups in the Tower, the not being able to tell what's real here, not being confused by your emotions and that clouding everything up, even though everything is collapsed. And then being stuck because you're looking outside of yourself. You're looking for them to come and make this right. You have your happiness attached to them instead of finding it inside yourself. Yes, this is also saying that the real problem is external to you. But there's this idea of whatever you're focusing on isn't helping you. What you have to focus on is detaching from this person, taking the blind leap of faith and calling this dead and over with, because they clearly already have. They've been talking to somebody else passionately, taking the first steps on that. They've been given to 2 people for a period of time. Given to 2 people is what their happiness is attached to. And they're rushing off toward what they believe makes them happy, even though we've seen the devil repeatedly, and what makes them happy is unhealthy and toxic. But this connection is unhealthy and toxic. And if you have that belief that this is what the 10 of Cups is, that's just a radical misunderstanding of what the 10 of Cups actually is. And I hope you can detach from that idea and move forward so you don't stay stuck in this.